Hi friends, we are going to talk about the human life cycle today, and I was able to find this really awesome picture online. We all start out as a baby. Do we stay a baby forever? Are you still a baby? Everyone grows up and goes through what is called the life cycle. We have the life cycle of the butterfly, which you all know very well. A butterfly does not start out as a butterfly, but it goes through changes. So I have this picture to show you, and when I'm done, I have an awesome story to read to you. We have the little baby girl here, then she becomes probably maybe a 5-year-old, and here she is probably about the age of 12, and then a teenager, maybe in her 20s here. Here she is with her briefcase going off to work, maybe around age 30, 35. Here she is a little bit older, and there she is at an age of maybe a grandma, except for Miss Gould does not look like that. I do not have gray hair. Just letting you know, I don't. So anyway, eventually I will, I'm sure.
Richard got that all covered.
Down here is a little boy, and there he is with his soccer ball, probably about the same age as that little girl, maybe 5 or 6, and he gets a little older, a little bigger yet, a little bigger yet. Oh, look, he's got a little beard. Oh, there he is as a young man. He's got his beard, and off to work he goes. And you notice his height stays the same because you don't keep growing and growing and growing taller, you just get older. And there he is as a little bit of an older man. And there he is as an old man. He shrinks in size a little bit because he's walking with a cane. Maybe he has a bad back or trouble with his knees. So that is what you call the life cycle of a human. It's a baby, you're a baby first, and then you're a child, teenager, young adult, and then you're grown up, and then you're an elderly person. So again, you're baby, child, teenager, young adult, and older person. That is the life cycle of a human. And to go with this today, we are going to read the story called Love You Forever. It is written by Robert Munsch. It is illustrated by Sheila McGraw. It is one of my most favorite books. I read this the first time for a kindergarten class I was teaching years ago. And Miss Gould got a little teary-eyed. I'll try not to get teary-eyed today. It's an amazing story. He writes some great books. So here on the front cover, what do we have? I want you to turn and tell your families, what do you see? It's probably something you shouldn't be doing when you were a baby. That is wasting a lot of things in the bathroom. But toilet paper, a watch. He's about to put a watch in the toilet. Toothpaste all over the floor, toothbrushes. Oh my, he made a mess. Love You Forever, written by Robert Munsch, illustrated by Sheila McGraw. A mother held her new baby and very slowly rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she held him, she sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And I always tell you all that you'll always be your family's baby. Always. The baby grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was 2 years old, and he ran all around the house. He pulled all the books off the shelves. He pulled all the food out of the refrigerator, and he took his mother's watch and flushed it down the toilet. Sometimes his mother would say, this kid is driving me crazy. And this is the same picture as what was on the front cover. But at nighttime, when that 2-year-old was quiet, she opened the door to his room, crawled across the floor, looked up over the side of the bed, and if he was really asleep, she picked him up and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. While she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. When we come to that again, you can chime in and say that with me. There she is, peering over the edge of the bed at him. The little boy grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was 9 years old, and he never wanted to come in for dinner. He never wanted to take a bath. And when Grandma visited, he always said bad words. Sometimes his mother wanted to sell him to the zoo. Can your mother really sell you to the zoo? Mr. Johnson shaking his head yes. Oh my. But at nighttime, when he was asleep, the mother quietly opened the door to his room, crawled across the floor, and looked up over the side of the bed. If he was really asleep, she picked up that 9-year-old boy and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, you can say this with me, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby, you'll be. And you see, he started out as a baby, and what is he doing? He's getting older and older throughout the story. And there's his cat on her back. The boy grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was a teenager. He had strange friends and he wore strange clothes and he listened to strange music. Sometimes the mother felt like she was in a zoo. Pizza on the floor, soda bottles, and there's his little pet cat still hanging out there. But at nighttime, when that teenager was asleep, the mother opened the door to his room, crawled across the floor, and looked up over the side of the bed. If he was really asleep, she picked up that great big boy and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. While she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby, you'll be. He still has that cat hanging out. You think she could really pick him up? I bet he's heavy. Oh, we have a change here. That teenager grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was a grown-up man. He left home and got a house across town. So Mom's all by herself now. But sometimes on dark nights, the mother got into her car and drove across town. What's on top of her car there? What is she going to do with that? If all the lights in her son's house were out, she opened his bedroom window, crawled across the floor, and looked up over the side of the bed. If that great big man was really asleep, she picked him up and rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby, you'll be. How'd she get in that house? What do you see there? Windows open and I see something that was on top of her car. Well, that mother, she got older. She got older and older and older. One day she called up her son and said, you better come see me because I'm very old and sick. So her son came to see her. When he came in the door, she tried to sing the song. She sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. But she couldn't finish because she was too old and sick. He has a new cat. Oh, I'm going to backtrack for a minute. He did get a different cat. But maybe the other cat stayed with Mommy. Something I never noticed. The son went to his mother. He picked her up and rocked her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he sang this song, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be. So he's rocking his mother now. And they both got older, didn't they? When the son came home that night, he stood for a long time at the top of the stairs. I won't boo-hoo, I promise. Then he went into the room where his very new baby daughter was sleeping. He picked her up in his arms and very slowly rocked her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while he rocked her, he sang, "I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." So he has a baby of his own now. He has a daughter. You think she's going to grow up? And that is one of my favorite books of all times. Love You Forever by Robert Munsch. And so when we look back at this, we have change. And again, that is called the human life cycle. We start out as a baby and then we get bigger and we get older. And eventually we stay the same height. We may shrink a little as we get older like this grandpa did. Thank you for listening.